Our yoga instructor challenged us to find inner peace. I found it faster than anyone. After 4 seconds, I stood up and screamed, "I found Nirvana! I win!" They asked me to leave. I guess they don't respect winning. Bet365 does, though. New customers get $365 in bonus bets just for betting $10. Namaste, losers. Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Virginia. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
Big nonprofit hospital systems are making billions on 340B medicine markups. Hospitals can spend on luxury perks while engaging in aggressive debt collection practices. They get rich, while patients like you pay more. Tell Congress it's time to hold hospitals accountable. Washington should fix 340B. Visit phrma.org/340B markup to learn more. Paid for by Pharma.
Welcome to the 20 Overtake, Women's T20 World Cup with Stephen Wallace. With the tournament getting underway on Friday the 12th of June and the final on Sunday the 5th of July, we're hearing from voices across the game, sharing their predictions, who they think will win the tournament and the players to look out for. Today I'm joined by Jane Powell, former England captain and coach, and until very recently the first female president of Yorkshire County Cricket Club. Hello Jane, it's great to speak to you again on the Paddock and the Pavilion to chat about the Women's T20 World Cup.
Yeah, it's very exciting, isn't it? Not far away now, and just want the weather to improve a little bit and we'll be all right.
I should say the welcome to the President of Yorkshire, but you haven't got many days left, have you?
Yeah, that could be the last time you greet me in that fashion. The AGM is on Saturday, and having done three years and 2 months, it's time for me to pass on the baton.
Seriously though, you must have enjoyed your time as President of Yorkshire.
Oh, it's been fantastic, absolutely. Something I never dreamt of, because I thought it was only men that were ever President of Yorkshire, which they had been for 160 years. But I thoroughly enjoyed myself and had a great time, met some wonderful people and seen lots of really good cricket. So it's been a win-win all the way.
Well, thanks for agreeing to be part of this series, and we'll be hearing your predictions later. One of the guests I've actually spoken to just a few minutes ago was Catherine Leng, who you know well from Yorkshire. And another one that you also know now is Gunjan Shukla, who is a former captain of Sweden, could still be the captain of Sweden, because listeners might not know, but Jane, you are now the coach of the Swedish women's team.
Yes, it's quite a bizarre one, isn't it, for a lot of people? But, you know, the opportunity came up and I thought, you know what, I think I've got some knowledge that I might be able to help them with. I certainly know Gunjan, and I've had one weekend with them and I'm back out, not this weekend, but the following weekend. And, they're really trying their hardest to put into practice some of the things I've asked them to do and just report back to me each week. My WhatsApp is full of videos of them batting and bowling and fielding that they're sending me for feedback. So it's brilliant. They're very committed and very good.
Well, Gunjan gave you a good mark when I spoke to her probably about 10 days ago. And from what you were saying there, the growth in women's cricket just keeps going up and up and up, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it? You know, I know that the number of countries that are playing. I know that we're going to play a European. We don't some form of European competition, and at the moment we don't know whether it's in Austria or Bulgaria. But who would have ever thought I'd be going to coach cricket, not just in Sweden, but Austria, Bulgaria, Germany, and a potential tour of Oman as well. So, you know, it's one of those things where you think, you know, why shouldn't these women play cricket? You know, they love the game and just want to play. So it's great now that they're able to do that.
I suppose also the key in countries like Sweden is improving the facilities, getting more funding and attracting the sports people that would normally play other sports to the game of cricket.
Yeah, that's key. The facilities, they do their best with the little that they've got, but when I think about the number of balls that sometimes clubs have in England, the National Association in Sweden are struggling to get good quality cricket balls, for example, so just trying to upgrade their expectations as much as anything else, and then to work on the powers that be to give a little bit more funding to improve the facilities and resources that they've got. And yeah, we'll just chip away and see what we can do.
Well, good luck with that. But how much are you looking forward to the T20 World Cup, which begins on the 12th of June?
Oh, it'll be amazing. I think this is probably the most open T20 World Cup that we've ever had. You think of the last oh, 40, 50 years. Australia have been dominant at most of the time, with the odd time when West Indies won one and New Zealand won the last one, but this one, I don't know who you would say are the favourites, if I'm honest. You'd almost you'd almost have to sort of stick with Australia because they've been so dominant. But I think they've lost some key figures. I know there's a lot of pressure on Mooney now, and Perry to some extent, young Litchfield, and Annabelle Sutherland and Ash Gardner. They would be their key figures, I think, going into this one. But all they need is, um, they're not. It takes them a while to get used to English conditions. So it'll be interesting to see how they go from the start, really. Uh, but I just think every team has got somebody that you have to watch out for. Right down, to Netherlands, Bangladesh, and Scotland, who all qualified from the qualifier. There's still teams to be reckoned with. And I think the biggest banana skin is likely to be Scotland in England, because majority of their players are playing week in, week out in on the pitches that they're going to have to play the games on. So they'll be up for it. And sometimes when you're the underdog, it's a lot easier to play the game than if you're expected to win.
Do you like the format, two groups of six, two going through each group?
Yeah, I think so, because when you've got 12 teams, it's quite hard to think of what's the best format. And I think two groups of six means that you get the top four teams going to the semi-final. So even if you have one hiccup, you've got chance to still get through. And I think that's probably what you need. I mean, as well as I do that T20 in cricket terms is probably the biggest lottery. 50 over, you've got to be able to be there for 50 overs, and test matches, you've got to be there obviously for 5 days. But when it comes to T20, it's anybody's game, really, because all you need is a couple of players to have a really good day or a really lucky day, and you're in with a shout. So, yeah, but two groups of six, I think, is about right.
Looking at Group A briefly, you've got Australia, India, and South Africa in the same group. One of them's going home after the group stage.
They are, and they call that the toughest group, don't they? And you just think, yeah, it is tough. But you know what? You've got to beat everybody to win a World Cup, so you might as well beat them in the round competition, and then you get through to the semi-final and the final, and anything can happen. But it will be tough for one of those teams, because I'm fascinated that South Africa have brought back Ishmael, and they brought Danny van Niekerk is back, and all of a sudden it looks like a similar team to they had 8 years ago. It's interesting to see that they've not stuck with their youngsters who have been developing nicely, really.
They did also recently beat India 4-1 in a T20 series.
That's right. But India, it sounds a bit off for me to say India are a quality cricket side, but they are. But it's the format T20 doesn't always suit them. They don't have the big hitters or the people who can play with quick intent. while they're batting, they like to build an innings. And obviously, when you've only got 120 balls, you can't really build an innings, particularly if you've got to get the team off to a quick start. So, yeah, I think India, but you've seen, and I have Harmanpreet just take a game apart, Smriti, Jemima Rodriguez, and then you've got Dipti Sharma who always does something, whether it's with bat or ball, and they've just got a good all-round team, and it'll be interesting to see if they're prepared to up their intent when they play the group games.
For the other group, you can easily think that England are in an easier group, but with those home nation clashes, it could be a really tight group, couldn't it? With New Zealand, Ireland, Scotland, West Indies, and Sri Lanka.
Yes, and you can never dismiss any of the teams, because if you dismiss Sri Lanka and Sharmina Attapattu gets going, you're up against it because she can hit the ball quite a long way, And Scotland is a tricky game for England. It shouldn't be, but it will be a tricky game with Catherine and Sarah Bryce, with Rachel Slater, with Kirsty Gordon coming back into it.
That's
With
at Headingley as well, isn't it? The
It
England.
is,
Yeah.
yes. We've got a big day on the 20th of June. And certainly, we have our own Catherine Slater and Hannah Rainey at Headingley. So there's a bit of a Scottish bias there as well, So it'll be a very interesting game, and it's one that I'm certainly looking forward to seeing and probably having a lot of people watching it with me.
Turning the attention to England, what will it be like for the England players to play in a home World Cup?
Uh, Yeah, that's a really good question because certainly when I was playing, I preferred playing away because the microscope's on you in a home World Cup. And there are times when, as a player, you feel a little bit like, oh, my family are there and my friends are there, but I can't really go and say hello to them. So you're a little bit torn at times. But hopefully now in this professional era, they're much more focused on the game and know the times that they've got where they can catch up with family and friends. But it'll be tough because there's a lot of there's a lot more professionals in the country now. So there'll be a lot of people who'll be like, well, I can bat better than that, or I can bowl better than that, and trying to show their worth. So but hopefully they'll feel the support of everybody as well. There'll be a lot of people, a lot of young girls and young boys going to the matches, fully supporting England in their quest to try and lift the trophy. And the only times we've played World Cups in this country, England have won them. So the pressure's on them a little bit, really. You go back to 73, 93, 2017, all the times we've hosted 2005, we've lifted the trophy. So it's a big pressure on the team because this is the sixth time we'll have had a home World Cup.
How much of a factor will be former England captain and now coach Charlotte Edwards be on the team during the campaign?
I mean, she's brilliant. I was delighted when she was appointed as coach. She knows how to play the game. She's got a lot of experience at T20. She was very successful in the WPL and also the BBL, where she coached teams to win both of those competitions. So she knows how to coach teams to win T20, and she knows how to work with the team to get the best out of them. So I think she'll be a great factor in this World Cup and hopefully will be just as successful.
And on the England team, are you worried about Nat Sciver-Brunt's fitness?
Um, well, it's a bit of a concern, isn't it, that she won't play in the New Zealand T20s and she won't play in the India T20s before the World Cup. So you've got to have a little bit of a concern there. I'm not concerned that she's not playing. She's the type of player that can come out and play her game without too much practice, so to speak. But I am concerned from her fitness point of view whether she will be fit to lead the team out there. But having said that, I think Charlie Dean did a great job the other day leading the team. So It's not a concern that there isn't anybody else there to do it. It's more of a concern that will Nat be fully fit so that she can concentrate on playing the game.
And who do you think are the key players in the England team?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because having seen Tilly Courtine Coleman play, I would have said Sophie Eccleston, and now I'm thinking, well, I think Tilly might be a good option as well. So there's always those who are going to come along. Lauren Bell is playing very well at the moment, so she'll hopefully get the bowling attack off to a good start. From a batting perspective, then hopefully if Nat's back, Nat will be there. Heather Knight, I think, will come into this World Cup without the responsibility of captaincy, but play the appropriate game at the appropriate time. Danny Hodge, and there's just any of them are capable of doing it. It'll be very interesting to see how they go in the pressure of the World Cup. Sophie Eccleston, you've got to believe will pick up wickets. So yeah, there's quite a few good players in that England lineup.
And as someone who played tests and ODIs, no T20s in your day, how much would you enjoy playing T20 cricket for England?
I would have loved T20. I was a hockey player as well. So, when it came to being a bit creative and inventive with paddles and sweeps, I'd have loved it. But because in my day, I was told off when I used too much bottom hand or did something that didn't look right. So I would have just loved it. And I love fielding. I love sort of the speed of the game. So yeah, I would have absolutely loved it. But I'm sure the girls do as well.
And what advice would you give the England team if you were the coach for this World Cup?
Yeah, for me, it's what, all you've got to think about is that next ball. That's all you have to think about. Don't be distracted by anything else because performance is about limiting distractions, and there'll be so many distractions, particularly in a home World Cup, and with the rising of profile that England women's cricket gets now. So I would just say just concentrate on the very next ball.
Before we get your predictions, one team we haven't mentioned at all are the holders, New Zealand, with Sophie Devine and Susie Bates still playing.
Yeah, Sophie Devine, Susie Bates, Leah Tahui, you know, uh, now being captained by Amelia Kerr. You can never write them off. Before they went into the previous World Cup, I think they'd lost 8 matches on the bounce, and then they came into the World Cup and finally lifted the World Cup. So that's the whole point of T20 is you can never ever write any team off. But they've got that experience. They also know what it feels like to win, and I'm sure they just want to win again. So they'll be out there giving it their best shot as well.
You don't wash your jersey during a win streak. You don't switch seats when your team's up big. And you definitely don't shave during the playoffs. When things are working, you don't change them. That's why when you drink Jägermeister, you drink it ice cold. Anything else? Well, that'd just be bad luck. Drink it cold or don't drink it at all. Jägermeister. Damn, that's cold. Drink responsibly. Jägermeister liqueur, 35% alcohol by volume. Imported by Mast Jägermeister, U.S. White Plains, New York.
So good, so good, so good.
New markdowns up to 70% off are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. Stock up and save big on shoes, tops, dresses, accessories, and more must-haves for summer. Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
Right, prediction time. First one, I want you to let me know who you think is going to score, this is an individual, the most runs in the tournament.
I'm probably going to say Laura Wolvaert from South Africa.
And who's going to take the most wickets in the tournament?
There's part of me that would say Alana King, but not sure she'll get picked for the Australian team. So that's quite a tough one, really. So I think I'd probably, I think Lauren Bell. I'm gonna go home country and say Lauren Bell.
And a young player to look out for during the tournament.
Tilly Courtine Coleman, if she gets a shot, I think she'll be somebody that is certainly worth looking at.
Now, the highest team score in a T20 Women's World Cup is 213 by England against Pakistan in 2023. Do you think that will be beaten?
I suspect it will. And the reason I say that is looking at just the women's professional game in this country, and scores are just going up and up and up the whole time. So I appreciate that that's been 50 over at the moment, but there's so many players now who think nothing of hitting a minimum of 2 4s and over, so even that two balls and over going at four that takes us to 160. So I think it will be, but I think it will be beaten because I think there'll be sixes hit as well. I think there'll be more sixes in this competition than there has been previously.
And the highest individual score in a Women's T20 World Cup is 126. Do you think that will be beaten?
That's a tough score to beat. I'm not sure that'll be beaten in this. I think it's going to be more team scores. I think there'll be people hitting quick 50s, 60s.
Right, now time for you to select your 4 semi-finalists.
I'm glad you said semi-finalists because I think to predict a winner is quite tough. I'm going to go for Australia and South Africa and England, and I think it'll be New Zealand.
And then who do you think is going to make the final and win the competition?
I'd like to think it won't be an Australia-England final, but I think it will be. I just think they've got more depth of experience and more game awareness when it comes to those big games. And England have come unstuck a couple of times against South Africa, but should really have won those games. But I think as South Africa get older, I think England are getting younger and they've got more energy.
And then the final then on the 5th of July, Sunday 5th of July at Lords, England,
Well,
Australia.
I'm going for England. I've got to go for England. I've got to go.
It wouldn't sound good, would it? An ex-England captain and coach
say,
going
once
for
you've played
Australia.
for England, once you've captained England, you've got to support your home team. I'm going for England. I'm going with Lottie all the way.
I presume you are going to several of the games. You will be at the games at Headingley.
I'm going to all the games at Headingley. I'm potentially going to semi-finals at the Oval, and I'm going to the final at Lords.
Because I know one of the games at Headingley does feature the Netherlands, because when I spoke to Ster Callis on this podcast, she was looking forward to playing at her home ground.
Yes. Yeah, Netherlands and Scotland play there as well. So I've got some Yorkshire girls playing for both Netherlands and for Scotland. I was trying to think if we've got any Irish, but I don't think we have because they'd be classed as overseas players. The advantage Scotland get is that they don't class as overseas players, so they can all play in the women's competitions at the moment.
That's
Whereas
quite
Irish
helpful
players,
for Scotland, isn't it? Yeah.
It is very helpful because I think the majority of their team are playing, with Abton Maqsood and various others. They're playing down in the England leagues.
On that sort of point, then, do you think there will be shocks in the tournament?
Oh, there's bound to be. There's bound to be at least one shock, if not more. Because the teams who I haven't mentioned as the top 4 have all got some real quality players, and all you need is a couple of them to come off on a day, and they'll take the game away from the opposition, because the standard of cricket is just improving all the way around now. I think there's a big gap when it comes to 50 over cricket, but when it comes to T20, I think the gap is much smaller.
We shouldn't forget in the global qualifiers, Bangladesh won all 7 of their matches to get through as well.
Yeah, well, they've got Jyoti and the 2 actors, they've got some quality players, but we've also got to remember that the qualifiers were played in Asian conditions and not English conditions. So I think that is where it'll plateau out a little bit. I think any of the Asian teams playing in Asia have definitely got an advantage, but that's why England should have an advantage playing in England, because they should be used to the wickets. And the weather, it's been cold the last few days, so it'll be interesting to see how some of the countries cope with the cold winds at the moment.
Well, let's hope when we get to June the 12th that the weather warms up and we have a very dry tournament. What's your one hope for the tournament?
The ECB will capitalise on the profile that it gets, and that clubs in local vicinities are ready for all the young girls that will have been inspired and want to play cricket, that they've got places to play and that they've got matches to play as well. Have something ready so that the young girls who come can play a little softball festival, or just something that keeps them inspired and keeps them wanting to play. If they're inspired to play, they need to actually play, not just do nets or practices. Give them a game to play.
Well said. Thanks again, Jane, for being on the 20 over take, talking about the Women's T20 World Cup, and hopefully England, like you say, will beat the Australians at Lord's on Sunday, July the 5th. And you'll be there to watch it.
I will be there. Yes, I do. And my twin sister will be there as well. So we'll both be there to watch it.
And even though Jill, your twin sister, lives in Australia, she will be cheering for England.
Oh, yes. She also represented England, don't forget. I think once you've represented England, then your heart's with England.
That was the 20 over take, Women's T20 World Cup. Thanks to today's guests for their predictions, and we'll be back with more voices from across the game as we build up to the tournament.
There's a new way to Sweet Green. Meet Wraps. Handheld, hearty, and made for life on the move. With bold, chef-crafted flavors, fresh ingredients, and over 40 grams of protein, they're built to satisfy without slowing you down. Try Wraps today in the app or at order.sweetgreen.com. Available at all participating locations.